Today's episode of Daily Persuasion is going to get spicy, and it's going to get spicy real quick. We're going to actually go to the shelf over here. Handbook of Hypnotic Suggestions and Metaphors, edited by D. Corridon Hammond. As you know, I am a certified professional hypnotist. I'm the only person in the world who is both a certified ghostwriter and a certified hypnotist by the two highest governing bodies of both professions. I like to tell people that a book, a nonfiction book, or even a novel, is a self-hypnosis script in print. It's a long-form self-hypnosis script, but that's what it is. I want to introduce you to this bad boy because it might be helpful to you in your endeavors, and you might also notice techniques that are being used in media and in headlines and in your daily goings-on in the world. So here's how to use this book. Now, first off, when you notice it, or when you open it up rather, you're going to see that the table of contents is designed really for clinicians, people who use hypnosis. Now, people who learn about hypnosis are going to say, well, so what is hypnosis exactly? Is it where people go up on stage or they say, I can't be hypnotized, and then hypnotist puts them into a trance or something, and then they do something silly on stage? No, that's like WWE. Okay, that's kayfabe. Remember that video where Donald J. Trump tackled and then beat up? Name is escaping me. You know what I'm talking about, right? Did that really happen? Did Donald Trump, 20 years ago, Ed McMahon, that's his name, did he really beat the crap out of Ed McMahon, or was that for show? Recently, my co-author of a couple of my recent books, Unhumans and then Bulletproof, out now, Jack Posobiec, he and I pretended to be in a fight and a scuffle, and we got intense pretty quick, and we made people believe it was real because it was fun. Now, understanding that sometimes it's okay to do something for effect because you want people's attention. Now, people wonder, why did you do that? Well, we'd been promoting our first book, Unhumans, for months, and then we were going to switch and start promoting another book, Bulletproof, which is the first and only book covering the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth of the Trump assassination attempts in Butler and then West Palm Beach not 2 months later. The reason we had this episode of pretending we were having this falling out is because the headline in people's heads, the low resolution, is Poso and Lisec have a book. It sold more than 30,000 copies, probably more than 40 now, combining the hardcover, the ebook, and the audiobook. If we then immediately start talking about a new book, the low resolution state of me and Poso in people's minds is, Poso and Lisec have a book. Oh, I already bought that book. We needed a new Poso and Lisec story to separate Poso and Lisec have a book. Poso and Lisec had this big falling out, and it was really public and embarrassing and humiliating. I'm so sad. I can't believe it. I can't look away. This is amazing. It looks real. They're not like, wait a second. This isn't a joke. This is real. Look at them going after each other. They're insulting each other. Oh, wow. Donald Trump literally just beat up Ed McMahon and shaved his head. They must be bitter enemies. He really was tied to that chair. It was all real. Poso and Lisec made up and did a new book. See that? If we had not had that bookend, if we had not had that separation, it would have been Poso and Lisec have a book. Poso and Lisec have a book. Oh, I already bought it. Right? Understand that most people's reality is low resolution. Reality of everything. And hypnotists understand this. So hypnotists, in a clinical context, they understand that why people do what they do is usually not accessible to them immediately. People generally are not rational, and that's okay. That's okay. So hypnotists don't talk to them like they are. And you'll begin to understand that. You'll perceive the irrationality of humanity and the fact that most people have these low-resolution beliefs, and those need to be interrupted in order to create new habits, new beliefs, new behaviors, and therefore a new identity. So if we look at what's here in the content, we have hypnosis in pain management. That starts on page 45. Hypnosis in pain management. And they have all manner of different techniques, applications, So we have reactivation of pain-free memories, an example of intensifying and relieving pain. Techniques of hypnotic pain management. Then we have Erickson. So this is Milton Erickson, right? The Erickson suggestions for pain control. And then we have some specific ones like hypnotically elicited mystical states in treating physical and emotional pain. Active control strategy for group hypnotherapy with chronic pain. We have one for acute leg pain. We have chronic ear pain ones, right? Then there are suggestions and metaphors. And by the way, a suggestion hypnosis is where you tell the person. A suggestion sounds friendlier as opposed to a command. They're really hypnotic commands that are embedded into the conversation, whether you're sitting there relaxing, visualizing, kind of getting zoned out. The hypnotist is doing their thing, and they're commanding. Commanding is what they do when you're in that trance. Have you ever watched a visualization video, like a guided meditation? It's kind of like that. Many of those are attempts at hypnosis, where the person is going into a zoned out state, an intentional zoning out. And then the metaphors are ways of relating to the inner child within all of us. Understand that the subconscious mind is between 5 and 7 years old. That's how old the subconscious mind is, 5 to 7. And at that age and in that state, the child easily understands, more easily than facts and figures, stories, parables, analogies, similes, metaphors. And so that's how to talk to someone while they're in a trance-like state to get the best results, and then work commands into those stories, the metaphorical stories, where they are represented inside of the story. They're watching it unfold with multisensory descriptions of how things look, how they sound, how they taste, how they smell, how they feel. Again, children are embodied little creatures between the ages of 5 and 7. You can do it. You can do it. It's great. It's great. We have hypnoanesthesia in preparation for surgery. Yes, so it is quite common in hypnosis circles that people who do not do well with anesthesia or are worried about it, a hypnotist will sometimes, on occasion, work with them directly in order to numb the area that is being operated on. And the person reports feeling no pain during or afterwards. Wow. Handbook of Hypnotic Suggestions and Metaphors. We have ones on hypnosis for anxiety, hypnosis for phobias, dental hypnosis, enhancing confidence, hypnosis with cancer patients. Wow. Now, often cancer and other severe issues, the objective is not necessarily to quote unquote cure, because if there are stage 3 or stage 4 situations, or even stage 2, but intense therapies involved with this, even surgeries to remove that dang thing, wherever it's at. Really what you're doing is empowering the person from a will to live perspective to get through it. The only way out is through, with many diseases. And so the objective with this is not necessarily, I'm going to hypnotize the cancer out of you. I mean, there are some pretty semi-miraculous reports and case studies I've read over the years, and you'll even see them inside of this book. But really, what we're going for is, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to feel pain. Pain is the purpose, and the purpose is for me to get through it. I'm going to make it. Nothing lasts forever. Right? That sort of, and that's not just words you're repeating to yourself, but you believe it. And you don't worry. You don't fret. You don't feel anxious. You don't feel fear of the worst. And therefore, you can enjoy the time that you do have with your family. You can enjoy it to the max. And you will not be a coward in the face of pain and suffering. That got pretty intense pretty quick, didn't it? Hypnosis with medical disorders. Yeah, we have sleep disorders, autoimmune diseases, hypnosis with burns and emergency surgeries. Now with this one, suggestions with burn patients, emergency hypnosis for the burned patient, hypnosis and painful burns. Yes, so pain relief, people report often use of spontaneous trances in emergency situations for great effect. Great effect. And there's in here material on that. Let's see, we got hypnosis for obesity and eating disorders, hypnosis for labor, hypnosis for fertility. That's real. That's real. Hypnotist I happen to know by the name of Shannon Keys Susevich. She was the trainer through the National Guild of Hypnotists who trained and certified me over, was it 2 years? I think it took about it took 2 years of training with her every single week in order to get there, and multiple times a week even, of application and study and hypnotizing people and whatnot. She shared with me that she has a wall inside of her office where people come in as patients, and it's a wall of baby pictures. Babies of women who were previously infertile or unable to get pregnant or unable to maintain the pregnancy, who then went to her for hypnosis, and the rest is recent history, and there's a lot of it. You see something like that, and you're going to believe. Hypnosis. Then we have hypnosis for emotional psychiatric disorders, hypnosis with sexual dysfunction and relationship problems. This is quite an interesting one. There's all manner of... listen to this stuff. This is going to get adult pretty quickly, so just hang on with me. We have illustrative suggestions and sex therapy, plenty of related to impotence and shyness. Often people who had a sexual trauma in their childhood or later, or they have, let's say, Puritan values, and they feel incapable of disassociating sin and shame from any particular physical acts, and it's just not a good time, and it feels, and their disgust instinct is activated when it ought not be. Hypnosis is suggested, to use that word. Now, there's also, interestingly enough, suggestions for induced erotic dreams. I think the purpose of that is to allow someone who has ultra, let's say, conservative position towards sexuality and feels incapable of emotionally, mentally, and therefore physically enjoying anything associated with the marital act. It enables them to explore those experiences in the safety of dreams. That's where that comes from. And then we have suggestions for premature ejaculation. Okay, let's go to that one. Several people have actually come to me personally and say, Joshua, and confidence, can I talk to you? Yeah. So you're a hypnotist, right? Yeah. So a little help in the mail department there, Joshua. I always send them to this. It's been a minute though, so that's why I laugh. Now, it will seem like I'm about to describe something very adult behavior, and then you'll see what I say, and it'll be like, wait, what? So this is from Milton H. Erickson, MD. He describes this as the most easily treated male sexual dysfunction, with success rates generally 90 to 95%. So he first talks about the effectiveness of a particularly physical technique that's used that is a little graphic that I'm not going to describe here. But he says that when validated physical therapies have failed, or there's a non-cooperative partner to do behavioral assignments, hypnosis is extremely helpful. It is said here. And this is a, quote, rather elaborate and complex procedure. Here we go. Therapy was begun by inducing a light trance in the patient and impressing upon him most tediously that the light trance was the most important measure. He was told repetitively was to ensure that he had both a conscious and an unconscious understanding of the fact that a deep hypnotic trance would settle once and for all time whether or not he could ever succeed in the act. 2 hours of repetition of these general ideas resulted in a deep trance, but no effort was made to give him an awareness of this fact. Anamnesia was desired for therapeutic purposes. Then, as a post-hypnotic suggestion, he was told that he absolutely must, get a wristwatch. If at all possible, this wristwatch should have an illuminated dial and illuminated hands. Absolutely imperative was the fact that the watch should have a second hand. So the second hand, it was stressed over and over, would be absolutely necessary. The second post-hypnotic suggestion was given that he must and could and would therefore sleep with a nightlight at his bedside so that he could tell time to the very second, anytime during the night, since he must, absolutely must, and would wear his wristwatch whenever he should happen to be in bed. Now, isn't that interesting? You probably understand what the timing is about, right? What the focus on time is. In the suggestions, again, a little bit graphic. This is sort of an adult-only situation. But he mentioned, no matter how long and actively you engage, ... you will fail to have ... for 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes, even more. And it goes on a bit graphically. 25 minutes, 25 and a half minutes, 26 and a half minutes, 27 and a half minutes, at 27 and a half minutes. And you will not believe, not even at 28 minutes, not even at 29 minutes, maybe at 33 minutes or 34 minutes or 35. It just never, ever, you just can't seem to. Not at 35. So, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And then he has this visualization in here where he trains the person to, while being attracted to a woman, disengaging from that feeling of attraction to notice aspects like a crack on the sidewalk, or you notice the boardwalk. And you're trying so hard to keep your mind on the conversation with this attractive person, but you just keep counting the cracks. You just keep counting the cracks about the boards, the cracks on you, and the sophisticated. You just keep focusing on them, and all you can do is you just can't seem to pay attention to her because you see what this is doing, right? I don't need to get graphic with you beyond this, but this is powerful stuff. It is really about suggestions and metaphors. It works. It works. There's so much in here. I do recommend that you get a copy of this. I think it's about 150 books, or 150 bucks rather. And there's so much in here. There's like visualization techniques, like suggestions following for public speaking, mental rehearsal of presentation and sales skills, goal imagery suggestions, end result goal imagery for sales productivity. There's everything in here, people. Everything in here. So, if you want to know how to hypnotize yourself, get that book.